Okay, just to start off with a backstory towards this whole presentation. You all know we're from St. John's in Cork. St. John's has fluctuated in numbers between 1,200 and 800 students over the past 8, 9, 10 years. When myself and Jordan Farad started in St. John's possibly 20 years ago plus, we would have had a cohort of students that just came in with little or no tech knowledge. But the cohort of students that has changed over the years, it's coming in now with more tech knowledge, but in times we're finding that there's less of the basic skills of education that would have been there before. So in a way, it sort of turned full circle. Plus the fact that in Ireland, in the last, we say 5, 6, 7, 8 years, inclusion has become a big thing in education, which is a hugely important thing. So as a result, we have kids coming in with a lot of tech skills, with sort of not great literate skills, but we also have students with special needs. Okay, and so as a result, we've started up a thing called a skills center. And if you remember, for those people that were in Romania, Jim Keller gave a presentation on UDL. So as part of all this UDL, we've incorporated this into the whole school process of learning. Okay, so to help the literate skills of students with disabilities and also without disabilities, because we find the cohort of students that we're getting is probably from the lower scale of the student population. So we've initiated this software package, Read and Write, okay? And basically what it is, it's a software package that helps people with dyslexia and so on and so forth. But there's also a software package that will help a person with normal needs, okay? So this software package basically is available anywhere in the school by a student that needs it. It's on every machine, okay, and it basically works in conjunction with an existing program, okay? So basically what it does really is, this is your read and write, and this is your normal word program. It works in conjunction with it. It controls everything up here, works down here as well, okay? So it floats about basically working in conjunction with Word, okay? What's the direction? Right, the functions of it, it actually works like a bit of a word processor, or we'd say Word itself, but the functions it performs, it can be a bit more concise and more beneficial to students. So it reads any text on the screen, okay? It can spell check your written work. The reason why spell check is important, in Word we get a very basic spell check, but this can go into dictionary and meanings as well. It also has predictive text, screen masking for students with dyslexia. So basically what that is I'll show it later, that sometimes the color of the screen affects people and the way they read, so you can put the whole screen into different colors and stuff like that. It has a built-in dictionary which comes in a thesaurus and also works with the spell check. It allows pages for books, margins to be scanned with optical character recognition and read by computer text-to-speech. It can create audio files, which is basically if you give a person a set of notes on PDF or whatever, they can create an audio file and listen back to it later. If, from my own experience, when I was, let's say, in college, and actually Fred commented on it there, he said, on the way over, I was reading a book and listening to music, and he said, do you do that a lot? I said, yeah. But in my experience in college, when I listened to music, I studied better, which was just a strange one. So sometimes audio, and coming back to the UDL, Universal Design for Learning, you try and hit, we say speech, visual, audio, try and hit as many of them as you can, and this helps in doing that, okay? So it can be utilised in exams instead. Now, the College of Commerce, a sister college in Cork, tend to use this as an exam aid, whereas we would use special needs assistants to read out exams. But they use this program to actually, instead of a special needs assistant when it comes to exams, okay, right? So basically, I'm just highlighting a couple of functions of this, and then what I'm going to do is just go through each one just to show it. I just picked three. The play function. So basically what it does, you can play text and go through, put up a file, and you can play through the text. You can increase and decrease the speed at which the text is read. You can change the voice to male or female depending on what you prefer hearing. Okay? And you can stop, pause and go back and forward. So, and as you're going, it highlights the actual word that is being spoken. Okay? So it is quite beneficial. I have a little video. I will probably show it to you over the week, but it just didn't fit in. I tried to put it up last night, but it wouldn't work. Okay, if we go to the next one. So basically what happens is then, if you this is your drop-down menu from above, and you can see you can read by word, read by sentence, read by paragraph, so you can break it down. It depends on the student. The student sets all the we'll say, or the student or the special needs assistant can set the settings the student needs to do. So again, these are all settings. It's up to the student and what to do. Okay, Farad? So then you have your spell check. Now, with regards to the spell check can work very well with the playback, because you can have certain words that might sound the same but spell differently. Okay, so you have flower as in F-L-O-U-R and F-L-O-W-E-R. So then what comes in then with this is you have a dictionary definition with it, which you haven't in a word spell check or anything like that. Okay, so that's the important thing here. So when you hear the dictionary definition, it also helps with dyslexic students that they're picking the right spelling. Okay, okay, Fred. So this is basically just a screenshot of the scribble text. So you get your definitions and all that. So it's just a case similar to Word. You pick out your word and you just fix it, right? Okay, next. Right. Okay. So this is coming to the screen masking thing, right? So even prior to this, I was looking at a Word document, and I was there and I was sort of looking at and changing the color of the screen on the Word document to hopefully sort of see the difference between this and just a normal Word document. So then I realized to myself that it's not just possibly the written part of the document, it's the whole menu part of the document that needs to be the color to your change. And that's the difference with here. So I hope the color, if you go on to the next one, it shows. So you can see there's just a slight tint of pink in this color, right? But it's not from just here, it's not just this part, it's the whole document. And if I tell you one, go back to when I was in school, there was a guy in school called, it's a funny name now, I know, Eddie Rocket was his name, and Eddie used to wear red glasses, and we never knew really what red glasses were for. But it was because he was dyslexic, and the tint of the screen or any books he was reading, he needed those to be able to read. So that was him. So this is one of the other things. So basically then, you can change the color, change the intensity, change everything with regard to it, and you can see that that's the important thing. So then, when I was researching this through with Jim, and the next step then is, we came along then and the school decided to switch over to Office 365. And we've had discussions about Office 365 and the availabilities and stuff like this. But then this thing came up as Immersive Reader, which is free with Office 365. And it's basically like the playback system that was in the read and write. So again, you choose male, female, you choose the speed, and you can go back. Now, it's quite ironic because the text here is on about Read and Write Gold in the Office version of Immersive Reader, which it's just what the text I picked. I have a video of that. I can show it to you later, but it's just not there. So now, coming to maths. My background would be maths, computers. So I found one of my big interests in this is written work at the present moment in time, the actual standard of the written hand or something, at times can be difficult to read as a teacher. So I started looking at things, what things can help the students in class and whatever. And I just found this image and think that good math with bad handwriting is still good math, which is a fact. But the problem arises if the handwriting is illegible at times. So I looked at it from the point of view, if it's illegible for me, it probably isn't great for the student themselves to be trying to figure out what it is as well if they go back that day. So the important thing I find, even with the last read and write, is that it's not necessarily just a classroom tool. It's for when they go home afterwards, when they're on their own and they need to study and they need a way of sort of changing and listening to what they do. So I've come across, we use a couple of apps, myself and another colleague, John Dean, inside in class. So in my investigations, I came up with this. And it's not open source, it is predominantly a Mac app. And I said, when I looked at this first, I said, yes, this is a good app. So if you go again, and basically what you get in is you get the screen. It's not a calculator, it's a text editor. So you have all your options down below, all the buttons, but each one is a little page and you add it in. But you do the calculations and you do the positioning of the numbers yourself. But I said, whoa, this is a brilliant app. But next thing, if you look here, you can send comments, put in comment boxes and everything, and send it on to your parents. Yes, I've done this exercise, what do you think? And I said, whoa, that's a great idea just to get parents involved and stuff like this. But next thing, when I went to practice sending a comment to my respective parent, next thing the price came up of to upgrade to the next version you have to pay €5.90 something. And I said, what? Coming back to what Ivan was saying is that you're dragged in and next thing you have to pay. But there's then, this app was developed by a couple with a child with severe learning disabilities. So you have, I suppose, the open source argument, which you would say should be the case, but as we have it here, isn't the case. So what we do then is, in maths in St. John's, we're getting students, we'd say from a weaker maths point of view. So we try to build them up to a stepping stone, so if they leave St. John's, that they will have a knowledge of maths when they go to college. Now, this app it's a free app. It's not open source because they're looking for money when they want to do the proper functions later on. But it's a very simple one. Once I have algebra done with the students, I tell them about this because I don't want them. I want them to learn algebra, not avoid it. So basically what it does is just scans the question, okay, if you go to the next one, it basically allows the student to scan the mathematical function or equation, all right? The app then solves the problem. Now, I use this as a learning tool for the student, not as a teaching tool, okay? So then, this is what you get, so this is what they've scanned, and you can see then that the problem is solved step by step. So again, if they're at home, they can use this as a tool to see whether they're right or wrong, when the teacher isn't there, or when their help isn't there. Now, this is another one we use, it's called Desmos, it's another free app, okay? We use this mainly just for visual consequences, right, okay, of, we say, curves and stuff like this that students mightn't be able to relate to normally. So if you just go on to the next one, you'll see basically there's just a thing. Okay, so we have three equations here. One is a quadratic curve, which is the red one. One is a circular curve, and the other one is just a straight line. So you can differentiate between the three different shapes, then a student will be able to see. So a lot of the times when students are drawing graphs at home, if they put in, and then they can see it, and they might see, as a result, after doing the work, where they've gone, okay? So that's basically where St. John's, and we say the maths guys in St. John's are dealing with it at the moment. And I think that's basically it. So, okay, thank you. Any questions?
What kind of division were you doing with the ModMath?
Huh?
Can you go back to the ModMath app? The division, what was that?
There's long division?
No.
Long division in maths? I'd say it is not.
We don't
I
divide
just
like
pulled that
that.
screenshot.
No, it's different. Yes.
Takes
Yeah.
Because, in Europe, it's the other one. It's like kind of
Yeah.
on the side in
Uh-huh.
France and Spain. I think Turkey as well. In
Yeah.
Ireland and the UK, it's different. It's up there. So just to
Yeah.
I know what you
put
mean.
it to the right is all the actual configuration of it.
No, yes,
Yeah.
it's this one, yeah.
We don't use
Yeah.
that format.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
surprising. We
Yeah.
don't use it like that. I've never
That
seen such
divides
a
into that twice. Multiply that by 2 and put it under there. Subtract and you bring down.
In the way that we have it turned the other way.
Yeah.
So 45 is
It's like a mirror, yeah.
So you have 45. So how
Yeah.
many 45 goes in 98? Twice. So you put the 2 here.
Ah.
And then you do 45 by 2, 90. So 98 minus 90. And then
So
there.
you bring down
So-
the 9.
Another algorithm.
I had to learn that when I moved to Ireland. So,
You should
Because I was, what the hell is that?
yes.
What the hell is that?
yeah.
drive the wrong side of that.
yeah.
Any questions, guys? Yes.
You should teach us how to divide like this. So just a class
Natural.
like yeah.
Nice, but just to note that in Office 365, you mentioned the
Yeah.
reader, that there's a maths app attached
There's
to
maths
that as well
function
in
in
there,
that as well.
which comes free with Office 365.
We sort of the whole college has only really switched over to Office 365 this year, so it's a bit of a learning process for us as well. But there's a lot of apps that are available there, which help us, I suppose, to provide stuff for the kids as well. Okay, so it's a new learning process for us with that, I suppose. But the read and write is there, it's on every machine, and it's there for all students as well. Now, I was surprised with Office 365 when I looked at Immersive Reader, and I went back and I said, it's not on Word, it's only on 365. So I was surprised with that. So, as Ivan was saying, is all these things like, why isn't that on the other one as well? You know, so it's funny. So that's just
And
my
also just
story.
to go back to the open source thing with the 365, the speech to text.
Yeah.
They were telling us that there's a new version of that coming out in about a month's time, which should be much more accurate than the one that's there currently. But they're saying that it'll be on the app again, you can choose an app, and there will be a charge for it.
Yeah.
So again, depends how much money a school has to spend.
Like with read and write, you have the speech to text as well. So
So,
no,
for example, Microsoft policy is completely different regarding to education. For example, we have an agreement with them, and the software is almost free. I mean, it's
Yeah.
nothing. What we have I don't know how many licenses we have for everything for a year, and all the licenses we want for the operating system, for the development tools, for the Office, even the Office
Yeah.
package, and we pay something less than 1,000 euros for a year, which is nothing compared to other kind of licenses.
yeah, that's I think we get some form of educational reduction. I think, do we, Joe? But as regards, as you say, I'm not involved in the accountancy side of stuff, so I wouldn't know. There's a couple of other apps that we use in the college which I didn't bother looking at, but I know we have 6 licenses for one. So I should have actually probably, in hindsight, what you were saying now, is found out the cost of the 6 licenses. It would be interesting to see. But like for what we'd say, there's probably a couple of hundred machines in the thing.
Mm.
So there's only 6 licenses in for that app. So so open source probably good idea. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Freedom. Okay. Cheers. Thank you.